Good morning to one and all present here. As we gather to explore emerging frontiers in multidisciplinary research and innovation, let us remember the words of activist Frances Moore, and I quote, "Every aspect of our lives is in a sense a vote for the kind of world we want to live in," unquote. Today, through knowledge sharing and collaboration, we cast our votes for a sustainable future. I am Ms. Maria Simonetta, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychology.
And I, Robin Frank, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce and Management. We will be your hosts for this event.
We extend a warm welcome to our chief patrons, our sponsor, Wings, delegates, staff, and students to our first two-day international conference on the theme Emerging Frontiers in Multidisciplinary Research and Innovation, Bridging Knowledge for a Sustainable Future.
In the rapidly evolving global landscape, innovation thrives at the intersection of diverse disciplines such as computer science, commerce, management studies, social work, journalism, psychology, and English language teaching. This multidisciplinary approach encourages critical thinking, ethical innovation, and sustainable progress while bridging the gap between academia and the real-world application. This enables cross-disciplinary dialogues that drive transformative ideas, promote digital advancement, and strengthen social responsibility. By embracing diverse perspectives, this conference seeks to create a platform for exchanging ideas that contribute to holistic growth and innovation in the 21st century. Let us begin our conference by invoking the Almighty's presence with an invocation song.
Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong deliverer. You are the everlasting God, the everlasting God. You do not fade, you won't grow weary. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Strength will rise as we wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. We will wait upon the Lord. Our God, you reign forever. Our hope, our strong shall weep. You comfort us in need. You lift us up on wings like eagles.
Thank you, Dean. We now invite Reverend Father Anthony, our manager, to lead us in prayer.
Kindly rise. Let us pray. God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering us today for this conference and sharing of knowledge. Bless all the speakers, organizers, and every participant here. May the knowledge and relationship formed here lead to positive change and benefit many people. Bless all the speakers, judges, organizers, and who have come together to learn, teach, and grow. Grant wisdom and clarity to those who present their research and papers today. May the knowledge and relationship formed here lead to positive change and benefit many people, and the words inspire understanding creatively and the meaningful discussion throughout these 2 days what we're going to have the international conference. Guide our decisions and inspire us with ideas that reflect your love, justice, and peace. Bless our minds to seek truth, our hearts to respect one another's idea, and our efforts to contribute positively to the society and the advancement of the knowledge. May everything we do today and tomorrow, and also further in future, bring honor to you. May this conference be fruitful, enriching, and filled with the cooperation and learning. We commit this conference into your hands and ask for your presence among us. We make this prayer through our Lord. Amen. Kindly be seated.
Thank you, Father. Light is a symbol of knowledge, wisdom, and prosperity. It dispels the darkness of ignorance and brings the radiance of learning. We now invite our esteemed dignitaries to light a lamp.
Thank you, dignitaries. We request you to kindly come on the stage. We request all the dignitaries to kindly come on the dais. We now request our principal, Dr. Sandhya Panikar, to welcome the gathering.
Good morning to one and all present here. It's my great privilege and honor to acknowledge the presence of our esteemed dignitaries who have graciously joined us today. Your presence truly enriches this international conference and adds great value to this gathering of minds and ideas. At the outset, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to His Grace, the Archbishop of Bangalore, who serves as the patron of this institution. Though he could not be present with us today due to last-minute commitments, we remain deeply grateful for his constant guidance, blessings, and encouragement. His support continues to inspire institutions like ours in our pursuit of excellence rooted in strong values. I extend a warm welcome to Monsignor S. Jainathan, Secretary of ABE, whose constant support and encouragement continue to strengthen many academic initiatives. His valuable financial guidance and insightful academic advice have been a great source of support in shaping and advancing many of our institutional efforts. We are deeply grateful for his continued encouragement and wisdom. As a token of our heartfelt appreciation for his contribution, I now request Reverend Father Anthony Mahindran to kindly honor Monsignor on behalf of the organizing committee. Now, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Benny Mohan, Chairman and Managing Director of Wings, for his generous support as the title sponsor of our international conference. His generosity and commitment have played a vital role in making this event possible. We deeply appreciate his trust in our initiative and his continued encouragement. As a token of our heartfelt appreciation for his valuable contribution, we would like to felicitate Mr. Benny Mohan. I respectfully invite Reverend Father Vinu to kindly come forward and do the honors on behalf of the organizing committee. I would also like to acknowledge and thank Sister Perpetua Machado, whose valuable support has played an important role in making this international conference possible. We truly appreciate Sister's encouragement and constant guidance. I now request Reverend Father Anthony Mahindran to felicitate Sister. Thank you, Father. Finally, a special word of gratitude to Dr. Sister Jansi Verghese, Principal of St. Aloysius PU College, for her dedicated leadership and for nurturing a vibrant and inspiring learning environment. Thank you for gracing this occasion, Sister. I request IQAC Coordinator, Mr. Hemant, to honor Sister Jansi as a loving token of our appreciation. Thank you, Hemant.
Thank you, ma'am. This welcome would be incomplete if we do not continue our honor to the chief patrons of our college. We hereby request Mr. Hemant to felicitate our manager, Reverend Father Anthony Mahendran, Ms. Swati to felicitate our principal, Dr. Sandhya Panikar, and Dr. Itigi to felicitate our vice principal, Reverend Father Vinu Fabian. Thank you, dear teachers. We now invite our Monsignor S. Jainathan, Secretary of the Archdiocese Board of Education, to address the gathering. We also request all the dignitaries to kindly be seated off stage.
Dear Reverend Father Anthony Mahendran, Manager and Correspondent, Ms. Sandhya Panikar, Principal, Reverend Father Vinu Fabian, Vice Principal, Sister Perpetua Machado, Mr. Jansi, Mr. Benny, and my dear friends who are present here in this hall and also are participating online. At the outset, I bring to you the best wishes, greetings, and blessings of our beloved Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, the Metropolitan Archbishop of Bengaluru, and President of the Archdiocesan Board of Education, and also the patron of St. Aloysius Degree College. And also the best wishes of His Excellency, Most Reverend Dr. Satish Kumar, the Auxiliary Bishop, who is also the Vice President of the ABE, the Auxiliary Bishop Susenathan, and Reverend Father Rayappa, the Joint Secretary. My dear friends, we are here to reflect upon a very important topic. I'm not going to read all the words of the theme of the 2-day international conference, I would like to just place before you the impact of the growing trends, the modern trends that are shaping differently each one of us, and also how we need to interact or accept these trends in order to grow personally, in order to help our families and institutions to grow, and also a responsibility to shape the society for future living. I like to share with you this short humorous incident. At midnight, husband was fast asleep. He heard a noise and he woke up and he found his wife was doing makeup. 12 o'clock midnight, she was doing makeup. Husband asked her, "Darling, this part of the night you're doing makeup? Are you going somewhere for a function or preparing for the function in the morning?" She said, "No, I'm not going to attend any function." "But why are you doing the makeup?" "You know, my mobile, I have a face lock mobile. Face lock mobile. Since I am without makeup, the mobile has failed to recognize me. Therefore, I am doing makeup in order to recognize." Then the husband smiled and he said, "Darling, if for your mobile to recognize once it is difficult, for the past 10 years, every day I am recognizing you." Dear friends, there was a time we were recognizing the technology. We were looking at the technology. Today, the technology has to recognize each and every one of us. Technologies are recognizing, period. Today, there was a time we are using technologies as a means for our to do. We were given options to use the technologies. Today, we are left with no other option except to merge with the modern trends. Therefore, I would like to present to you, place before you, the impact of the modern technologies and how we need to interact with them and how we need to respect them, how we need to promote the modern trends, growing trends, in order that we build the community, the society. New trends driven by rapid digital connectivity shape individuals by accelerating consumerism, shifting social norms, and altering mental health, often forcing a balance between self-expression and conformity. Individuals face increased pressure to maintain online presence, leading to, at times, higher stress or, conversely, enhanced community engagement and self-care through digital tools. Behavioral psychological shifts. The rapid cycle of micro-trends triggers dopamine-fueling impulsive, fast consumption behaviors. Social media trends often create a sense of urgency and a FOMO, fear of missing out, pushing individuals to adopt trends to avoid feeling left behind. Then, mental health and self-perception. The pressure to stay trendy or maintain a perfect online image can cause for us burnout and stress. However, trends can also boost self-esteem and provide a sense of belonging or support through online communities. Values and identity. Trends, especially for younger generations, are often rooted in a search for truth, influencing personal values such as increasing awareness of social causes, sustainability, and authenticity. Consumer behavior. Over 60% of consumers in some sectors make purchases just to stay updated with the latest trends. The shift from purchasing for utility to purchasing for status is accelerating as the trends become more accessible via social media or modern trends. Digital integration. Trends reinforce digital-first behaviors such as relying on social media for information and purchasing decisions, and at times reducing face-to-face interaction. Now I'm going to place before you a couple of powers the emerging trends today dominate in today's world and in each one's life. Trends represent shifting behaviors, technologies and styles shaping society, ranging from artificial intelligence integration to consumer desires for sustainability and authenticity. Examples include AI content, experiential travel, eco-conscious purchasing, and the rise of short-term video. These trends influence business strategies, social interactions, and personal choices in 2026. Let me share with you this incident. A couple of days back, a person who is holding a big position in one of the MNC companies happened to meet with me. And I asked him, what are the challenges your company is facing today? Do you know what he said? Father, today our company is facing the great challenge from AI. If we are not prepared to integrate AI into our business, into our everyday life, into our interactions, and also all our projects, and our company will never ever grow, and it will be extinct. Perfectly right. In order to reiterate his point, he gave me this data. I don't want to name the company. This is a medical company in the United States. And all that this company does is to give appointment to the, fixing appointment of the doctors. And each unit had two office staff. There are 9,000 such outlets in the United States. The companies spent money and they developed their own app. To make the long story short, in each unit there were two office staff, 9,000 outlets, 9,000 into 2, 18,000 staff, they were retrenched. Today, the company is running purely through AI, artificial intelligence. I've just given you one example. I can give a number of examples how today the trends are changing rapidly. There was a time the changes were going very slow pace. But today, before we could blink of an eye, changes are taking place. Therefore, today, I need to Father Mahindran and his team, I congratulate you for having chosen the most important, relevant topic for the day in order to just to say how to be aware of the trends, modern growing trends, and the technological growth, and how we need to merge them into our everyday life in order to build a vibrant society. Now I'm going to place before you the powers of the modern trends or growing trends. Number one, AI generated content, increasing adoption of generative AI in marketing, design, and entertainment. 2, green molecules, development of sustainable, renewable chemical building blocks for manufacturing. 3, robotaxis and autonomous logistics, commercial deployment of self-driving vehicle services. 4, spatial computing technologies, merging digital content with the physical environment. 5, social search, users relying on platforms like TikTok and Instagram over traditional search engines. 6. Chaos culture, content characterized by chaotic, high energy, and unpolished aesthetics driven by Gen Alpha. 7. Nostalgic remix, re-imaging 70s and 80s styles and pop cultures to connect with modern consumers. 8. Private social media, shift towards smaller, private groups and private messages over public posting. 9. Carbon capture, investments in technology to capture carbon emissions from the atmosphere. 10. Modern boho, a fashion trend prioritizing bohemian styles with modern tailoring. 11. Cozy aesthetic, content fashion and lifestyle choices focusing on comfort and slow living. Number 12, my dear friends, ethical and sustainable consumerism, increased purchasing of products with high environmental and ethical standards. 13, personal brand burnout, a shift towards more authentic, less curated professional social media presence. 14, ergonomic home technology, rising demand for tools helping with daily tasks driven by an aging population. 15, short and sweet jackets. People today, they prefer to have fashion trend focusing on comfort and personal gain or personal identity. I can enumerate other points are there, and to lack of time, I just say, close my presentation this morning by placing before you the word aims. The growing trends. Today, you and I, after participating in these 2 days of international conference, wherever you are, the ideas that I presented to you, for some it may be new, for many of you, you are quite aware of these trends. What are we supposed to do? Aims. A, be aware and accept the modern trends wholeheartedly. There is no choice. We are called to accept, to be aware and to accept the modern growing trends. Point 1. I involve and integrate the technologies for our being. My dear friends, Marshall McLuhan has written a beautiful book, the title, Medium is the Message. Medium is the message. Today, media are not apart from me. Media are part of myself. My specs, extension of my eyes. Microphone, extension of my mouth. Speaker boxes, extension of my ears. Typewriter, extension of my hands. Computer, extension of my brains. My wheels are extension of the heels. Yes. Minus technology trends, we are zero. Therefore, we need to involve and integrate. Integrate means without which we cannot exist. We cannot exist. Therefore, we need to be aware and accept the growing trends. Second, involve and integrate the growing trends for our self-growth and for the welfare of the society, development of the business, whatever you call it. And the third, we need to make the modern trends beneficial for each and every one of us, especially the institutions should integrate and make the technologies, the trends as a part of the curriculum, and through specialization, they can also contribute and develop and make the growing trends beneficial to everybody. And yes, my dear friends, whatever we do, ultimately we are called to serve the society. Serve the society. That is because these all technologies are gifts of God. When we receive with gratitude and we make those gifts make available for the people, God has given us the presents to us. So it is up to us to unfold the present and make that present seen by others and accepted by others, appreciated by others. Once again, I thank wholeheartedly Father Mahendran and all the organizers and for your kind invitation extended to me to be present and give or share this message with you. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Monsignor. With this, we conclude the inaugural program. We request all the delegates and the dignitaries to join in for a group photo.
We request Reverend Father Vino Fabian to propose the vote of thanks.
Dear Monsignor and dignitaries on the dais, I take this opportunity to thank our Archbishop, Most Reverend Dr. Peter Machado, even though he is not present in his absence here, because he is the president of the ABE, for his blessings. And also, we are grateful for your constant encouragement to this educational community. Also, I would like to thank Monsignor Jainathan, Secretary, ABE, for joining us today. Your presence itself reassures us that our institution is on the right track. Your dedication to education continues to inspire many institutions like ours. We are grateful for your guidance and support. Thank you for being with us and encouraging us. Thank you, Monsignor. We also thank Mr. Benny Mohan, Chief Marketing Officer of Wings, for being present with us today. As a Chief Marketing Officer, you know exactly how to spread a good message, and today you have helped us spread encouragement among us as well. Your presence has added great value to this event. We are grateful for your support. Thank you for being with us. Thank you. Also, we would like to thank our principal, Dr. Sandhya Panikar. Behind every successful event is a principal who probably lost a little sleep, making sure everything runs perfectly well. Your leadership keeps our institution moving smoothly every single day. We are grateful for your dedication and vision. Thank you for all your guidance always. Thank you. Also, we would like to thank our manager and correspondent, Reverend Father Anthony Mahendran. Your guidance and blessings are the backbone of many of our initiatives. With your encouragement, we always feel confident to move ahead. Thank you for your constant support and for always standing with the institution. We are truly grateful to you. Thank you, Father. We also thank our two special guests, Sister Pepetwa Machado and Sister Jency Verghese, for your gracious presence and for your support and guidance. Thank you, sisters, both of you. Also, I would like to thank all the participants who have come for this international conference. I wish you well and all the best. I also thank the teaching and non-teaching staff for putting their heart and soul to make this event a great success. I thank all the Aloysian family for working together and taking Aloysius to its peak. Thank you, one and all. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you, dear Father. With this, we now come to the conclusion of our inaugural program. We request our dignitaries and the delegates who have come to please join in for a quick group photo.
Request the teaching staff, our college to also join in for the photograph. Requesting the teaching staff and participants and delegates to kindly join in for the group photograph. If there are any delegates sitting in the crowd, kindly come forward for a group photograph. stand as the dignitaries leave the auditorium. Requesting everyone to kindly stand as the dignitaries leave the auditorium. Kindly be seated. So, for the delegates and dignitaries who are here, tea will be served to you at your table, and we'll have a short break now, and we'll resume at 10:50. We'll resume back at 10:50. Tea will be served to you at your table. Thank you.
I request Mr. Ajio to felicitate Mr. Sudhi Sharma, Director, Business Relations.
Thank you, teachers. We now have our first keynote session by Mr. M.C. Shekhar, Principal of Global Finance and Training Institute. Mr. M.C. Shekhar is a highly accomplished professional with over 25 years of international experience and more than 14 years of teaching expertise in finance, accounting, and education. With a diverse background spanning auditing, financial consulting, and international financial reporting standards gained during his tenure at Ernst & Young, Mr. Shekhar now serves as the principal of GFTI, that is Global Finance and Training Institute. In this role, he oversees operations, conducts ACCA classes at prestigious institutions like Christ University, and delivers specialized exam sessions and IFRS training programs for professionals worldwide. Mr. Shekhar's extensive experience, commitment to excellence, and passion for education continue to make significant contributions to the field of accounting, finance, and professional development. We request Mr. M.C. Shekhar, our keynote speaker, to kindly come on stage. We call upon Mr. Hemant Kumar, our IQAC coordinator, to felicitate him. Thank you, sir. We now hand over the session to our keynote speaker, Mr. M.C. Shekhar.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here this morning. I think your institution possibly is one of the most recognized in Bangalore. And when you say St. Aloysius College, then everybody knows St. Aloysius College. And I was quite surprised about it. I think you can give yourself a big hand for having such a lovely reputation. And more importantly, to have conferences like this is very essential and important because it broadens and horizons people's thinking capacity and capability. And it is truly a privilege and an honor to be here on this. The topic is so big I need to remember and mention it correctly, okay? So it's called the Emerging Frontiers in Multidisciplinary Research and Innovation, Bridging Knowledge for a Sustainable Future. Yeah, we are at a very, very crucial juncture as humanity, given what we are facing today in the world. You talk about sustainability. Would we live tomorrow has become $1 million question now, literally, because we don't know what is happening and we have no control over events that are taking place. So what do we do then? We need to take control of things over which we have seemingly an apparent level of control. I was here a bit early, and I was listening to your chief guest, the father, speaking, and I thought it was fantastic because he was making some pertinent points. There are some things which I wanted to say which he has already said. So unfortunately, he stole the limelight, but we will try and see how we can do where we want to be. Now, if we can start off the slide. Why do you think multidisciplinary thinking matters? Because if you take me particularly, I'm a fairly old person who is used to my way of doing things, and I was into my silos, and I was into my specialization. Now, will that suffice for the generation? Each one of you becomes a very difficult question to answer. Why do you need multidisciplinary thinking? I was breaking my head, what am I going to talk about in this session as a keynote address? Now, there are different topics you're going to talk about. And I said, I don't want to touch anything that you're going to talk about because each of you is going to present papers and you know better than me about what I have to say. There's no point in my talking about the same thing. So I have to approach it from a completely different angle. Therefore, what we did was I have given various examples for you to relate to see how multidisciplinary practices work. Then, possibly, it will set the tone for you to appreciate what this college is doing. It sets the tone so you will be able to move forward and see, aha, now I understand why I need to know more than one discipline. Now, what is the meaning of this multidisciplinary points? You see, we talked about silos. What are silos? They are specialized information where you are an expert in that particular area. Those are silos. Now, each of us knows our particular area very well. So, there are each of these silos, and between them there are intersection points. True innovation occurs at the boundaries where different fields meet and challenge existing paradigms. You know, it's a lot of words and a lot of cliched statements that are used in there. What exactly are we talking about? When we look at examples, you will understand what I'm talking about. You see, you can be a specialist in one area. I'll give you a simple example. You can be a specialist in financial management. You know everything about how to calculate stuff, you know, net present value, internal rate of return, valuation of derivatives, everything is fantastic. But if you do not relate to the industry that you're working in, your knowledge is useless. You go to an airline industry, you need to understand how the airline industry works. You need to understand how the airline industry works, and then you can adopt your financial management knowledge, because a silo of financial management is definitely not going to help you. If you're an expert in an aviation sector, you go to the energy sector, you will not be able to look at how do I relate the information that I get. That is what I mean by this intersection point, where the knowledge of the industry has to intersect with your specialized knowledge, which could be financial management or any other topic for that matter. So that intersection point becomes crucial, where discipline will start merging with each other. Now, we look at transformative breakthroughs. What are these? When you have these specialist areas, there is a deep collaboration, acts as a catalyst for shifts in how we understand and interact with the world. It's mind-boggling, because for this particular session, I did a lot of research to understand where we come from. There are things that I learned which will shock you, because obviously I'm going to talk about AI. The AI is in everybody's lips. I mean, sir talked about AI, father talked about AI, and AI is there in everything. And this morning I heard, AI is not everything. Please understand. It is only a guide that is telling you. It is not the be-all and end-all. We have to understand and apply it. I'll give you a simple example. It is quite shocking. I know it's, it is difficult to digest. That there was a school that was hit in Iran. Yeah? And I'm sure you know about the controversy surrounding it, because it's an artificial intelligence application that bombed the place. Now, investigations is going on. I don't want to go and blame or anybody. I'm just talking about AI and its impact. I want you to understand this, okay? When the first bomb hit the school, 10 years ago, it was a place where missiles were stored. So AI doesn't have the information that the purpose of the building has changed. So what you feed is very important for AI to understand, number one. Number two, when the bomb fell, a lot of people were running out and running in. This AI understood that this must be a very important site, because there are so many people who are running and coming, therefore bomb the second time. That's AI without human intervention. It was a school where the parents were coming to take their children out. That is why there was so much running. But AI was unable to understand. This is why there is a company called Anthropic, which fought with the Pentagon, saying you cannot use AI for targeting people. You cannot use it for independent weapons usage. You need manual intervention. This is what was talked about. Do you understand what can happen if you allow AI to run rampant? I don't know how many of you have heard of an author called Isaac Asimov. Have you heard of Isaac Asimov? Anybody put their hand up? No. Okay, he is the father of science fiction. He is the person who introduced words like robotics. This AI, he has talked about in 1975 in one of his famous short stories. He talked exactly about this, where AI takes control. So, yes, you need to understand AI. You cannot live without it now. You cannot say, I don't want to use AI. No. It is better for you to understand it, see how you can integrate it in what you do. That becomes multidisciplinary. Do you guys get it, what I'm saying? Yeah? Everybody with me? Especially the students, but this is all for you guys, okay? Yeah? Now, integrated solutions. Complex global problems require solutions that weave together engineering, social science, and technology. So, I'm going to give you some examples as we move along, because I want to see how do you weave together engineering, social science, and technology. I know your thrust is more towards commerce. Your thrust is towards computer programming. It is in the English literature. It is dealing with finance. Yeah? But I want you to think, because you can relate to each one of them. Once your mind is set in that particular fashion, then you will be able to understand how do I implement it in the subjects that you're going to talk about. If you can move on. Now, a simple example is Bengaluru traffic. I don't know when I'm going to reach here. Google Maps will tell me this is the time you will reach, but I don't know if I'll reach in time. Everybody leaves 1 hour early, half an hour early. That is why I was here at 10. Although I have to be here at 10:45, I came at 10. Why? Why does this happen? If you look at it, how a daily challenge requires a convergence of specialized fields. Let's look at it. First is civil engineering, focusing on the physical road infrastructure and bridge design. If you focus only on this, we are where we are today. This is what happened. I want to build a road. I want to build a flyover. Problem solved? No. Problem has not been solved. Why? Because you need to look at urban planning, designing mobility systems and public transport integration. I think there is right now, experts in this field are saying, building a bridge will not solve the traffic problem. Building the bridge will not. That means there has to be multidisciplinary approach towards a solution. If you don't, we will be in the soup that we are in today. Let's do the next one, data science, utilizing traffic analytics to predict congestion and optimize flows. Which brings me to a very, very interesting question. About 5 years ago or 6 years ago, Bangalore had a huge garbage problem. Does everybody remember it? Yes? We had a huge garbage problems, right? There was a data scientist who said, why do we have this garbage problem? And the appropriate authority said, we have engaged 6,000 trucks on a contract. He says, wow, fantastic. He asked a simple question. Do you know how much garbage is created on a daily basis? Students, think about it. You are having 6,000 trucks to clear the garbage. Fantastic. But do you know how much garbage is created? If you don't have that first information, do you think 6,000 is enough or is more than enough? What do you think? If you don't know how much garbage is there, do you think 6,000 is adequate? You don't know. We don't know. So the data scientist, he came and he said, But if you don't know how much garbage is created, how can you solve a problem? You don't know the problem. Same thing applies to traffic. You need to understand the pattern of traffic flow. You need to understand what time, how much traffic goes. Do you know this is a whole new science? I used to work with the Department of Transportation in Abu Dhabi. And one of their concerns was, how does the traffic light change? Yeah? There are certain times in the day when the number of cars in a particular direction will be much more than in other directions. Extend the amount of time it is on green light. That is coming from this particular action. So your traffic is not just a single problem of building a road, solving the problem. Do you understand how you cannot think in a silo? Everybody with me? Yes? Okay, let's go to the last one, behavioral science. Analyzing and influencing driver behavior and compliance. Oh yes, I have a lot to say about it, right? We all have. We understand what is the problem, what the driver behavior is. If there is an opportunity for somebody to go, he doesn't care about anybody else. Yeah, there is no empathy. There is, I will go. You have to take care of yourself. I will go wherever I want to go. This is a huge thing that plays a big role in anything that has got a public impact. So, for a simple problem of traffic, we are talking about 4 different areas of expertise that is required. I'm sorry to say it's a simple problem of traffic. It is not. It's a major problem that we have in Bangalore. Now, if we go on, from silos to integrated knowledge. We think in silos. Aspect is research focus. Traditional silos is discipline specific. Modern integration is cross-disciplinary. I need to understand something more than what I study. So if you study financial management, for example, you need to then talk about what industry am I going to relate it to? What do I want to specialize in? So there is another angle that has to come in. So if you take AI, how can I use AI to improve financial management practices? That is where you need to start thinking differently from what you used to think. Collaboration. It used to be limited and internal. Yeah, within that particular department. What happens? You create a silo. From a human perspective, you're creating mini kingdoms. This is my kingdom. Nobody can come near here. Why? Because I'm a specialist in this particular area. It's not applicable anymore. You have to think on a process-oriented basis. You are not a functional silo anymore. Take a look at it. Industry, academia, partnership. That's what is happening. I don't want to promote any particular course, but there are certain courses where the syllabus is changed every 2 years because of constant interaction with the industry. They want to know, what does the industry want? Once the industry wants something, immediately your syllabus is adjusted to meet the needs of the industry. What does that mean? Your learning becomes very fruitful and you can be usefully employed immediately upon qualification. So you won't have a complaint that says, oh, these people who qualified, they don't know what to do when they come here. No, that's not the way it's going to be. If you start doing that, industry, academia, partnership. Now, you look at networks, aspect. Traditional silos is local and isolated. Now we have global knowledge networks. Yeah, I think this particular presentation is being broadcasted everywhere. Previously, we used to have only this particular room. But that's not the way it is. It's now going all over the place. Outcome, there is a theoretical depth, whereas there is a practical systemic impact. When I start showing the examples, you will understand why multidisciplinary approach is the way to move forward. Traditional silos of knowing only one particular area is out of the window. You cannot survive. If you go to the next slide. Challenges of the 21st century. Climate change, requiring meteorology, economics, and renewable engineering. Yeah, I know there are certain people who completely say that climate change is a hoax. You know whom I mean, or which country I mean. Which is the current administration, which says that it's a hoax. But in the same country, there are specialists who are screaming. They're saying, no, there is truly global warming. The rate at which the ice is melting in the North Pole is just unbelievable. Yeah? It is happening. You're seeing it. Now, how do you address this? You need to understand meteorology, you need to understand economics and renewable engineering. Unless you understand these, you cannot address climate change. Very interesting. I met somebody who's in the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and I was having a very interesting conversation with him. The guy is a PhD scholar, and he is doing a research currently, the rate at which the ice is melting. And what is the level of water increase that is going to happen? How is that going to affect the low-lying countries? And how is that going to affect the shipping lanes? Now I said, okay, this looks, it's very logical and simple. How do you do it? And once he started showing me what he was doing, that mathematics is at a completely different level. It's just unbelievable. I cannot even fathom. I said, yeah, you're an MIT PhD guy. Good, keep it there. Because I cannot understand what he was doing. But he was working with climatologists. He was working with water navigation specialists. He was looking at what is the, what is it called? When you have ship that comes in, what is the amount of water that is displaced? They were doing all of these things. It's not one person's work. It has to be multidisciplinary. You cannot otherwise solve the problem. You have to define the problem, right? Problem is defined, but how can you solve it? You cannot sit in a silo and solve it anymore. Global health crisis, integrating medicine, logistics, and data analytics. This is just amazing. There are so many examples that is happening right now. So many examples of integrating medicine, logistics, and data analytics. There was one particular surgeon whom I recently met. We play golf together. And he was saying, Shekhar, I'm going for a robotics class. I said, you're a doctor. What are you doing with robotics? He said, no, the latest surgery equipment, I need to know how to operate so that I can see on the camera and move the knife here and cut something with a scissor. I said, this is classic case of multidisciplinary. You need to understand robotics because you're using a robot to do whatever you want to do in terms of the surgery. I said, wow, okay. And yeah, we will come to this later. I'll give you another example, especially if you take Africa now. I think India, to a great extent, is solving many of its medical problems, but I think Africa still is facing substantial challenges. How can that be resolved? Cybersecurity threats, merging computer science, law, and ethics. Those are the three areas you need to specialize in. We look at digital transformation impacting every sector from finance to education. I don't have to say, I'm sure you all know, you've been through the times of COVID when really we needed to evolve how we as teachers can hold the students' attention when they are online. What a struggle we all went through as teachers, right? So, but there was no choice. You had to live with it, right? Now, here's the examples. This is where it starts. Take Chandrayaan-3, a very proud moment for all of us, right? But do you know it was not about sending a rocket? There's so much that is involved in it. Let's look at what was involved. There was aerospace engineering. First is sending the rocket, designing the propulsion and landing modules. There's a big story on this. I think we know this cryogenic engine. You know what is cryogenic engine? Yeah, the fuel is basically sub-zero temperature. When the fuel is sub-zero temperature and then it's released into the engine, it takes time to burn, so you can carry less of this fuel. We did not have the technology and the powers that be stopped India from getting the cryogenic engines. Wow. You can't stop somebody who has to succeed. We made the cryogenic engine, not with anybody's help. Internally, this one was done. Then what happened? This is one aspect of Chandrayaan going to the moon. Look at the next one, computer science. Powering navigation algorithms and autonomous systems. Can you even close your eyes for a moment? Close your eyes and think about sending this object to the moon. Can you even humanly imagine? Unless you're a specialist in that particular field. I know how to do it. I know at what speed it has to go through the escape velocity to get out of the atmosphere. And I know at what angle it needs to go. Boy, can you even think about it? This is like hitting bullseye. Many thousands of miles away. Material science, developing structures to withstand extreme lunar temperature. This failed. Chandrayaan failed when it went on the cold side during no sunlight because the temperature was so low, it was not able to wake itself up. There is a lesson to be learned in there. Yes, it was a success. It landed at a place nobody has landed before. It worked, but it was not able to get back itself alive after the cold, when the sun was not there. Lastly, data analytics, processing signals from the moon's south pole. I think it's data analytics and more importantly, communication. Something has to communicate from the moon to you. Can you imagine? There's nobody sitting there and talking. Something is communicating and you're making a decision here. You need to know what that is. Can you see the different silos coming together to sending one object to the moon? That is the thrust of the session, the topic. The topic is multidisciplinary. Here's a classic example of why multidiscipline was required. Now, navigation algorithms, complex mathematics, and code guiding the craft through deep space. This is a fascinating area of interest for me and my grandson. So we do a lot of things on this one. We really love going into it. And I asked my grandson to close his eyes and say, can you imagine what is a light, what do you call it? Light year? The speed at which the light can travel in a year. What is the speed of light? Multiplied by, and I say, look at all of these things. He comes and says, I cannot fathom it. That is why it is called rocket science. Yeah? So look at it. Complex mathematics and code guiding the craft. If you're a specialist in that area alone, you can't do anything. You need to combine it with something else. I can send an object that will burn. Even before it escapes the atmosphere, it will burn. So what happens? We need professional systems that's sending it out there. Initial launch and orbital maneuvers powered by advanced chemical engineering. Okay? And then we look at landing sensors, physics-based hardware detecting lunar surface proximity and hazards. Have you played that game Moonlander? Youngsters here. Have you played the game Moonlander? You know, there is a jet that will come that will, you have to control the jet, the speed at which it hits the floor. Because when you land, you have to have the right speed. If the pressure is more, it cannot land. If the pressure is less, it will land and it will crash. Have you played that game? You can respond. Nobody will punish you. You can say yes or no. No. And nobody has played the Moonlander game. Oh my goodness me. Okay. You need to get a grip on it, okay? These are things that will teach you things. Now you are landing something millions of miles away. Millions of miles. How? Data analysis, post-landing scientific research and telemetry processing. Do you really understand now why different subject areas have to combine together? Does it make sense now? Why we need them together? They cannot work in silos. Yeah? Right. Now we come to something that really affects us on a daily basis, yeah? We call it as a digital stack. Building a transparent and inclusive digital economy for over how many people? Billion. A billion people and more. We are 1.4 billion now. Other digital identity coverage. And you have 13 billion UPI monthly transaction volume. I was just in the US. I came back from the US. And I was saying, where are you guys? I can't take my phone and go and make a payment. I need to use my card or my cash. Hey, we are far more advanced in India. We are far more advanced. Why? I can use my mobile phone to make the payment. Now, everybody wants to integrate to the Indian UPI now. You are talking about scale that is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you know banks had to really work much harder to make their hardware and their capacity much higher? Because even for 10 rupees, I'm using a UPI. You want to go and buy a flower or vegetable, you use a UPI. Everywhere it's UPI, right? The number of transactions that hit the bank has grown manifold. The server was not capable of supporting this volume of transaction. We didn't even know about it, right? Many banks had to go back saying, no, we can't process these transactions. State Bank of India was a classic example. Why? You had to get prepared for it. Now, we have application layer where bank, fintechs, and government services building on the foundation. And this was very, very important. Can you even imagine what this is? It's very easy for you to download the app and make the payment. It's very easy to do it. Do you know what goes behind it? What science goes behind it? We used to have something called as SWIFT, continue to have something called as SWIFT. That was Society for Worldwide International Funds Transfer. That is the acronym called as SWIFT. And I used to know SWIFT very well because I've done a lot of consulting work in respect of SWIFT. The amount of controls they had to build in compared to what we are doing now, where anybody can make a payment for the smallest amount. I just want everybody to get your head over it, because it's not as simple as just getting a mobile and making a payment. There is a lot more to it. Look at the payments layer, driven by UPI enabling instant peer-to-peer and merchant transfers. Identity layer based on Aadhaar providing a unique digital ID for every citizen. Unless you have a multidisciplinary approach, it is impossible. You cannot do it. That is why this was adopted. Why? We thought out of the box. We thought out of the silo. And you think out of the silo, you have to go to this method only, because there is a seamless interaction which is called as a process-based thinking. That process-based thinking is what multidisciplinary approach is all about. I will get very excited and I will go way over the time, so somebody has to point out to me, say, Shekhar, stop. So if we go to the next one, AI in healthcare. This is in Bangalore. Transforming breast cancer screening through thermal imaging and AI. This is a curse for women. This is a curse, and this happened. It is the most common one, most curable one it detected on time. Most curable. Now, what do? We have AI analyzing thermal patterns for early signs of cancer. You know that it can be non-contact based now. You don't have to go and visit a doctor. AI can do it. Biomedical engineering, designing non-invasive radiation-free screening tools. This is what I'm talking about. You don't need to go and visit a doctor. This can be done now offline. Medicine, ensuring clinical accuracy and patient-centric outcomes. You need to be capable of doing this, and this is where you have multidisciplinary approach that is useful. And lastly is data science, managing massive data sets for high sensitivity detection. When you talk about this becomes a very, very crucial aspect. You have all this data, it should be capable of being analyzed and a decision arrived at. Yeah? For which you need help from AI. Because the volume of data has to be managed, and it can be done only with the help of AI. Yeah? Now, the next one. Enhanced healthcare workflow. Now, streamlining the path from patient data to clinical outcome. Data collection, gathering medical images or thermal data from the patient non-invasively. I had one of my neighbors who had a startup. This startup was in the same industry, the medical profession. What they did was, in the rural area, it is very difficult for people to go to a lab because there are not many labs, and all the problems associated with, if I go to a lab, what will others think that I am sick, and etc., etc. So they brought about a complex test kit where you take a kit to each one of them, you do the analysis. The moment you do the analysis and take the sample, you are able to, it will analyze it and post it onto the server. Based on the data on the server, immediately information will come back to you. Within a couple of hours, you'll be able to tell the person what's wrong with him or her. You know, if it's cholesterol or if it's, diabetes, whether you have sugar or whatever it is, it will be immediately able to tell you. That is an innovation, but that cannot come purely by blood analysis. It has got all the other elements. First is, there's a social science involved. Will the person be prepared to accept a lab technician going to the house? If it was during COVID time, you'll say, don't even come near my house because you will give me COVID, right? So first is the social acceptance. Second, you have the medical science. Third, the person who goes has to be trained enough and he should be capable of speaking in the right way. Here is the third philosophy that comes in. Fourth is communication capacity. Fifth is analysis of the blood flow. That is a laboratory that is doing the research out there. Sixth is, how do you communicate this to the patient? You have 6 sciences that work together. It's very simple, taking the blood and analyzing. That's all. But can you understand it? Right. Processing data through neural networks to identify anomalies. Clinical diagnosis, physicians review AI insights for a final medical conclusion. This was for the breast cancer we are talking about. And lastly, patient treatment, commencing early stage treatment based on high precision insights. I think the latest in medical research is they analyze your blood cells and they can say whether you are going to be a Alzheimer's patient. That is the latest research. They can tell you in 10 years' time whether you're going to have Alzheimer. Yeah. Right. Digital health ecosystem in India, standardizing healthcare records through Ayushman Bharat digital mission. Okay. Its ABDM is a cornerstone of India's health strategy by integrating portable digital health records and national data systems. It's basically taking care of the health of the person with the data that you have and the ability to manage the data and the ability to treat that person, because without medical science you cannot treat. But you need artificial intelligence, you need data storage, you need communication. All of them are coming together. I was out in Kerala last week and I was out near the Kollam district, and I was shocked to find almost every other street had this municipal health clinics. Every other street almost had municipal health clinic, and it piqued my curiosity. So I asked them, how come you have so many? Well, we take care of the health of our people. It's very simple. How does it come? The other thing I observed, cleanliness on the road. Cleanliness on the roads of Kerala is something which you got to see to believe. I have quite a few Keralite friends here, and whoever is a Keralite here, you can put your collar up. I would say the rest of India has to go to Kerala to learn how to keep the city clean. What are the elements that go into it? Because I know I'm going to talk about it here. I said, I did a research to find out what exactly drives this. First is education. You need your population educated. Second is the desire to have hygiene. This is most important, yeah? There is a social civic sense that has to come into the people, that if I throw that plastic paper out there, it is going to affect me and my family and my children. That awareness has to be there. Fourth, the government initiative to make sure that the place is kept clean. There are 4 different silos. They all work together. Who is the beneficiary? It's the population. Sorry? Somebody said something? Okay, so it is you who will benefit if you do this. But if only one person says, I want to remain clean, it's not going to work. If the government says, I want to clean this place regularly, if you keep on throwing, there is a point when everybody gives up, right? It has to be a collaborative effort, multidisciplinary focus. You want to succeed, it has to be multidisciplinary. So, artificial intelligence and modern defense. I already introduced the topic of anthropic. Now look at this. Autonomous defense using robotics for high-risk surveillance and reconnaissance. This is a very tough one. Because right now, this is not very successful. You know why? The person who's sending out the drone or the low-cost missile is only $40,000 or $50,000. But when you want autonomous defense, you're going to fire missiles to stop it, and each of them costs 10 times the cost of the equipment that is coming towards you. The missile that is coming towards you is so inexpensive. The missile you need to use, because it is looking at the trajectory of that particular ballistic missile, understanding the trajectory, it is calculating side, now I need to hit one. One will not succeed, so you need to spend at least two. For a 50,000 missile that comes towards you, you need to spend $1 million for defense. So I am sure they are working. They are working towards how can I reduce this, right? Now you look at satellite intelligence, applying AI to process real-time orbital imagery. This is what I said. When there is a ballistic missile that's coming, it is looking at what is the height, what is the angle at which it is coming, at what angle should I go so I will be able to hit it. Wow. All of us kids, do we remember trigonometry? At that time when trigonometry was taught, they said, oh, how will this be useful ever in my life? Here you go. Yeah? And cyber defense, protecting critical national infrastructure from digital attacks. Again, this is part of defense. So you need to understand, because if I can crack into your electricity generation grid, I can stop electricity. Yeah? Geopolitical and using predictive models to assess international security risk. Of course, there is a caveat in there. There are certain people who will make decisions without any logic. That is human beings, unfortunately. Yeah? You know what I mean. If you don't, we will have a private session. Right. Environment is China's Great Green Wall. Combating desertification through large-scale environmental engineering. How can this be done? We're talking about 66 billion total trees planted since inception. 13% is increasing. 13%! Why? This is because of the Gobi Desert. Multidisciplinary approach. Take a look at it, okay? It's data-driven ecological insights, precise monitoring of environmental change. I have a brother-in-law of mine who is a PhD in marine engineering and climatology, etc. He says, planting one tree, planting 2 trees affects the microenvironment. If each one of us is to plant 1 or 2 trees, we can actually affect the environment that we are living in. Look at that. Precise monitoring of environment change based on ecological insights. Now, understanding what are the ecological process. This is what is necessary. You need people to understand what is the effect. What is the ecological process? And then community-based conservation. Can you see how everything has to come together? One person screaming, what is that? Greta Thunberg screaming is not going to be useful. Everybody has to contribute. When that child out there can take so much of care for the next generation, don't we owe it all? Yeah, we need to be, there has to be a community-based conservation. It's not somebody else's job. It is equally our job. If each of us were to say, I will not throw a plastic piece of paper on the ground, it is that much better for the environment. Now, governance and policy, frameworks for action and participation. So you have an authority that starts coming behind. People are afraid of the Chinese government. Obviously, you have to be afraid of the Chinese government. Yeah? You know, I'll fight for freedom for anything. I need freedom. But freedom can be very badly misused, right? Now, we go tech-enabled governance, informed policy and public engagement, and advanced monitoring and data analysis. Can you see the disciplines that are involved? Isn't it multidisciplinary? What do you guys think? Yes? You think just one particular silo will help? No. Do you see why you need multidiscipline? Without knowledge and without awareness, each one of us do it already. Now, there is a formalized structure to learning this. That is why we are having that session here at St. Aloysius College. Do we get it? Right. Now, there's another example of Netherlands for the Delta works. You know, that is a land where it is at a lower level compared to the sea. Netherlands is lower compared to the sea. How come water is not coming? How? Protecting low-lying lands through climate-adaptive infrastructure, storm surge barriers, advanced hydrology, climate adaptation, and an integrated policy. Unless you have this kind of an approach, that land is gone. Again, to help you understand, it is multidisciplinary, it is multidimensional. If you look at the next one, sir. Singapore, the same way you talk about the NE water innovation. How do you do the water security? It develops innovative water purification technologies, environmental engineering. Sometimes when you drink water, you wonder where it comes from. Yeah? Sometimes, even the dirtiest water is cleaned. The guy will show you, I will drink the water. In front of you, you will drink the water. It is sewage water. He said, yeah. But it is so clean. It is unbelievable. That is because it's innovative water purification. Integrates water management into urban design and urban planning. I think I remember the way you're supposed to, when there is rainwater harvesting, we have it. The moment you have rainwater harvesting, it will have, sir is showing me the time? No, okay, thank you. So, when rainwater harvesting happens, the groundwater level improves. When the groundwater level improves, the whole community is happy, isn't it? Instead of letting the water drain out. So, we have water management into urban design, establishes regulations for water conservation. It's not enough to have regulation. You need to be capable of implementing those regulations. That's where, unfortunately, India suffers a bit. We have all the acts that we have. We don't need any more acts. If we only implement those acts, we can live a much, much better life. Enhances water recycling and distribution efficiencies with technology. All of them go towards sustainable water supply. So, you can go on, sir. Common patterns. This is what I was coming to now. Important. It's boundary spanning, which is breaking traditional department walls to foster dialogue. So, in a college, what should you do? In a college, what should you do? I don't have my empire here. This is going to talk about accounting. I don't have an empire here that talks about taxation. I don't have an empire here which talks about English literature. I don't have an empire here that talks about, say, zoology, botany. No. You have to start talking to each other, breaking traditional department walls to foster dialogue. Can I understand where you're coming from? Can I understand what is it that you're doing? How can we integrate what we are doing together for the benefit of the students? Then we look at policy integration, aligning technological goals with government framework. So there is a lot of help that is required from the other side as well. Yeah? Something that comes to my mind immediately is Niti Aayog. So there has to be policy initiatives that will help in the multidisciplinary approach. Data-driven decision, using analytics to guide multidisciplinary teams. Absolutely crucial. We need data. Without data, it is not possible to understand. And if you have data, you should be capable of understanding it intelligently. Data, when becomes intelligent, becomes information. Otherwise, it is just data. Data in its raw form is useless. And public-private partnership, leveraging the speed of industry with the depth of academia. Your education should be capable of providing employable or remunerative opportunities for the students who go out there. Then your syllabus has to be relevant to what the industry wants. Right. The future role of universities, that's exactly where we are, evolving from teaching institutions to centers of innovation ecosystems. I have been to one other university. Sir and me were in one other university. They had a incubation lab that was set near the Electronic City. It was partly funded by the IT companies. Any student who is doing his BTech could go to that particular place and do whatever he needs to do for research purposes. Now, this will go towards his degree. Yeah? So, there has to be innovation that has to be built into the organization. Interdisciplinary research, encouraging PhDs and faculties to work across departments, which is exactly what I was talking about. Innovation ecosystem, incubating startups that emerge from academic research. And please, one thing I want to tell you, you guys have a completely great way of thinking. You means, I mean, all the students, okay? You are new, you are fresh, your thinking is much better, much different than somebody like me. Because for me, my old ways, my path, and the way I am thinking will not change easily, because it is an established path. That is why you have all new innovations coming only from youngsters. Yeah? So it is you guys who have to think about innovation. I was out there teaching a class in one of the sessions. It was an advanced financial management. I found this very young boy, extremely enthusiastic. And I asked him, you're talking about so many initiatives. Are you talking about starting a financial club? Because they have these clubs in the colleges, right? He said, yes, sir. I've already promoted it, and we're having a financial club. And I said, what activities do you do? Oh, we're just born, but we're already thinking, what is it that we can do which will make us better in terms of adopting AI into finance? I said, wow. This is a first-year student in BCom. It is you guys who can think of innovation. The older you get, I'm not saying we can't do it, but we have to work very hard. For you, it will come naturally. So, then we have industry collaboration, co-developing projects with real-world corporate partners, and global partners of building academic networks that span across continents. I think recently we had a World Universities Forum. I think the managing director of the World Universities Forum, recently we were out at a conference with them. That's exactly what is happening right now. There are many universities who want to step into India. We should use this opportunity. How can we enhance our knowledge and awareness? Not that we don't know, but we need to have an open mind. We should be capable of learning. If there is something good that we can learn from, we should learn. So the world in 2035, how do you think it is going to look like if it is there, okay? If it's there in 2035. Visualizing a future powered by integrated multidisciplinary solutions. Yes, absolutely. Future belongs to collaboration. It cannot be in silo. That's what all those examples showed us. Do you guys agree with me? Does everybody, you can shake your head. You don't have to say yes. You can shake your head. Do you agree with me? I see very few heads shaking. Yes? What about the students? Do you guys agree with me? What is the question? Okay. So, the future belongs to collaboration, bridging boundaries to build a sustainable and innovative world. That, I think, is the end of the keynote address. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But that's the message I want to get across. The future belongs to collaboration. It has to be multidisciplinary. It cannot be in silos. That is the conclusion. Now, anybody has any questions? Please feel free. No questions? None at all? Right, we shall try and have a panel discussion when you can put across your question. Thank you once again for giving me this opportunity, St. Aloysius Degree College, and to all the people who have organized it. It has been an honor and a privilege for me to do this presentation to you out here. Any questions you may have, please do ask me. We'll be here for some time. Thank you once again. God bless you all.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your deep knowledge and insight. We are indeed privileged to have you as our first keynote speaker. We now begin with our panel discussion. We invite our moderator, Reverend Sister Deepa, Vice President, Wing Social Work Center, and the panel members, Dr. Premalata V., Associate Professor, Mount Carmel College, Dr. Gokila D., Assistant Professor, Christa Jayanti, deemed to be University, Mr. Ra Vinod, Chief of Bureau, the Hindu Tamil edition, to kindly be seated on stage.
Kindly welcome Dr. Gokila, Assistant Professor, Kristu Jayanti, deemed to be University. Thank you, ma'am. I request Mr. Harish to kindly welcome and felicitate Mr. Vinod, Chief of Bureau, The Hindu. Thank you, teachers. We now request our moderator, Sister Deepa, to take over the session.
A very good afternoon, everyone. I consider it a privilege and honor to serve as the moderator for this panel discussion during this international conference. The theme of the conference, many times you have heard of it, once again, Emerging Frontiers in Multidisciplinary Research and Innovation, Bridging Knowledge for a Sustainable Future, highlights importance of collaboration across disciplines, which we have already heard in our keynote address, which emphasizes a single field cannot respond to issues such as sustainability, social inequality, technological challenge, and global development. It is through shared knowledge and collective innovation that meaningful solutions can emerge. Today's panel brings together distinguished scholars who will share their perspectives on how multidisciplinary research can foster innovation and contribute to sustainable future. We already had Mr. Shager speaking about how multidisciplinary approach is the way forward. And now we have the second speaker, Dr. Premalada, who is an associate professor in the School of Commerce in Mount Carmel College. I invite ma'am to speak on this particular topic and enlighten the participants. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to first thank the college management for giving us this opportunity and the organizing team as well, so that, today I could spend time with all of you. As, I've taken a lot of inputs from Shekhar, sir. I just told sir, so you have already spoken half of my mind when I just came in. So I was actually looking into the, topic of the conference. I'm so happy to see so many students coming up here for such a great event. So something was actually striking into my mind when I was looking into the topic and other things. So it's telling multidisciplinary, and we are trying to implement that. But somewhere I feel we are already into it. We are living with it is what my perception. So I'm just going to speak my mind today is what I thought. So I have not prepared anything as such. No PPTs, nothing as such. Whatever is what I've been reading and looking around for the past few days is what I'm going to talk about. So I feel we are already there. We are into it. I think I should start with how this conference was organized. Definitely it wouldn't have happened if it was only one department or one person specialized with something come up with such a great event. It is not possible at all. We know for sure there was definitely a department working on the organizing. Somebody would have been working on networking. somebody would have worked on PR, the public relations, somebody working on for the decor, and so many things coming up. So only when all these departments, all these streams are coming up together, we can something do very great. And magic is there when people come together. And the other thing what I felt is the acceptance is very much important. We just need to accept when things are happening. As Sir said, accepting is very, very important for someone, because you are going to accept something beyond what you are. That is what I saw. And I think the best lessons in life is taught to us by COVID. COVID taught us so many things, and we are still out of it. And there was a second round of COVID which came. We all stood up to say, there is no need of a lockdown. We can still fight with it. And that's it. That's where the multidisciplinary stands. The first time we were panicked, we were worried what's going to happen. But I think every sector came in to help each other. That's where we saw the real life examples of multidisciplinary. Every sector came in to help us so that we learned it. And when it was approaching the second time, we were all set to fight against it. There is multidisciplinary, as you know what I feel. And I think all of you would have come up with research papers. I'm very happy. Maybe most of you are still looking into what you're going to do or talk about it. And again, every research paper is an example of multidisciplinary here. Maybe we think we are really specialized in our subject and we start up with a research. Your research paper itself is an example of multidisciplinary here, because you have used your laptops, your computers. We would have used AI, we would have used other platforms to get more information. Maybe when you looked at your literature review, you would have seen papers of different streams which is coming up, multiple things, starting from the grammar you are checking in, starting from the tools you are checking on your plagiarism and AI contents, moving on to your data collection, framing of your questionnaire, and your analysis of the data. It's all multidisciplinary. So we can proudly say we are into it. But most of the time things happen so that we still look beyond to say, are we reaching it? We have it within us. And we are so compatible to it because we have that capacity of adapting things. Adaptability is a major challenge now. As Sir was telling, sometimes we feel we are the expert in something, but when somebody else is also really good at it, we should be able to accept it. And I'm sure definitely from the time you entered the college, there must be at least one person you would have met for the first time here. Yes? I met ma'am just now here, and we just shared some details. Ma'am belongs to another department, another institution. That acceptance was there for both of us to just take up, yes, to understand where are we from. Both of us are from different fields, but such kind of events are organized for such networking. Networking is more important. It comes with acceptance. And we all are from different disciplines, and this is how things make up, and we are already working on it. So how are we going to take it up is a very big challenge. I would like to talk, because most of them are students and teachers here. Let us take some examples of our own institutions which are coming up. We have institutions now, you can see people going on for interns. We have people, going and working. We have students working part-time. We have teachers into different fields. So many things are happening. But if you see, there are many challenges in the nation which has to be addressed. I think for the past 1 week, there is some 3-letter which is putting our laws up and down. Any guesses? There is 3 letters which all of us were worried about for the past 1 week. LPG? Yes. Okay. What's happening around? We know there is going to be a scarcity. We know something else is happening somewhere. But immediately what happened? If you see, I was making an observation. Okay, this is going to come up. Yes, maybe we have a shortage. But what was my observation there? The moment this came up, nobody thought it is not of my problem. And everybody came up with so many things around. I saw that was one of the factor which also, improvised marketing. Companies started marketing their alternate products. We started thinking alternate way of cooking, right? We need that, and there were so many videos and news coming up. People started finding alternative. Finding an alternative itself is a research what we are doing. Government is looking into what are the provisions can we do. There are people, economists, who are working out how is it going to affect our GDP, how is it going to work on our funds and economies, money. Is it going to be really expensive for us to bring it from the other routes? So many people are into it. That itself is multidisciplinary. And recently I was looking into a news where, India is known for agriculture and our maximum part is agriculture. And we know there are days where farmers used to look at the sky and tell time. Now it's a little difficult for them because there are most of the things which has changed. One of the biggest challenges is climate change. And it is observed that farmers are more smarter than anyone because they know when to crop, when to harvest. They know the seasonal changes, everything is there. But for the present climate change, there is a problem there as well. So it is identified AI is also a part of agriculture now, where we have so much of technology where farmers are able to understand and forecast things. There are technology which is going to forecast and tell when is a monsoon going to come up, so the farmers can plan their cropping, they can plan their harvesting, they can plan their marketing. So many platforms are coming up. So if you see now agriculture is so much, we can't say it's only one discipline working for it. I think many disciplines are putting their efforts to work for it. Of course, AI, as Sir told, AI is something taking us up. We should have that acceptance to take it, but use it the right way. That's more important. If you talk to a farmer on AI, somewhere it would have helped him because he was able to forecast the rains which is coming up, otherwise his crops is going to go for a waste. That's what he's looking into, a part of his agricultural process. Looking into the medical field, again we know, there are so many things which is upgraded and we feel, yes, everybody is actually working together. Moving on to academics also, like we see so many institutions which is coming up with multidisciplinary courses. That's something very, very important because I was just talking to a HR manager of a company last week. When I was talking to him, he's just giving me some inputs. He gave me some inputs on telling like, why every time if there is a decision to be taken, it has to be taken in the boardroom only. He said, why can't a decision be taken at the lower level, most probably at the entry level of employees? So somewhere I feel it is our responsibility as well to push these students to this sector well equipped. That's very important. And I also gave a suggestion to the manager telling that most of the time we have our students going for interns. We should also give, a request or it can be a demand as well because our students are so much potential when they go there. So we should also put across to say the industry to give real examples or problems to our students because sometimes when students are going for interns, what is the learning there is what is very important and sometimes we have to focus on what is that they are learning. Let us not do it or it's just not because they're going, learning is very, very important. So one of the best examples, I think few months back, we have read in news, an IIT intern has got the highest CTC, I think it's rupees 2.5 crores CTC, just after his 2 months of intern. So definitely there's a lot of potential in the candidate. I think the company also has used it. I don't know if there are statistics of the news, but it is just read somewhere and it just came to my mind immediately. So everywhere it has to be there, but my focus is mostly it has to be inculcated in our academics as well. Students also should be having that acceptance. Multidisciplinary courses should be there. There should be improvement in research in colleges and institutions. Students should be encouraged to do research articles or research papers or study where they are going to go beyond the department. It shouldn't happen a student is taking up a course and he completes only that course and goes out. It has to be beyond that, and because they are the future entrepreneurs, they are the future leaders, and somewhere things has to be like this. This is just a part of academics I touched, but I know very well that every organization is looking for the most potential candidate in the companies. So I wish there are few more changes required. As we see, we observe, and every department is a part of it. Learning and unlearning is very much required when we do it. So I feel this is what, we are into it already. We are into multidiscipline, but only the acceptance part is very important, and we should have the urge of learning and help others who are really in need of it is what I felt.
Thank you, ma'am, for your words of wisdom. You have also spoken about the need for networking and collaboration, which is essential for growth. Thank you very much, ma'am. We'll move on to the next speaker, Dr. Gokila. She is faculty from the Department of Computer Science in Christu Jayanti College. Over to you, ma'am.
Very good afternoon to one and all present here. So I feel very privileged to pass up my views regarding today's session, regarding emerging trends, that is, our innovation should be focused on multidisciplinary issues. A very good example is, you can take the dais itself. We are all not from the same field. One is Principal Sir, and one is very honored to say from my native Tamil Nadu Hindu editor, and ma'am, a sister, and ma'am is from Commerce. So we are also presenting our view. We are all from different streams. When different streams join together, we make it a conference a successful one. Likewise, a research becomes innovation. That is, invention becomes innovation only when it is useful to the public, that is to the environment and society. So how it will become an input and an innovation is that, for example, if you take wherever you go, you have AI is an important tool. AI, when I use only in phone and system, that will not be useful for any people. For example, if you go for booking a railway ticket, in olden days, we'll be going to the ticket counter, standing in a queue, book the tickets, and wait for the tickets and go. Nowadays, our systems is very, very advanced in that we know where the train exactly coming. It is near to 100 meters, 500 meters, what time it will reach, and what time it will reach its destination. Even the system has categorized in such a way that where in the platform exactly we have to stand. This is not only in booking a train ticket. Wherever we go, our innovations are expanded. As ma'am said that, and Sarah also said many examples in his PPT. A robot is doing a surgical operation. So a medical field is combined with the technology in order to make not only ease of use of human beings. We have to understand the technology that is going beyond the future. Nowadays, everything comes in prediction. A 4th kid is putting a chat GPT message, how to solve my homework today without knowing to my mom. Is it amazing that the other cron side, whenever take the technology conquers us, but it makes us to think that our works becomes very easy. Irrigation, agriculture. A very good example is, in olden days, if you want to buy any vegetable, if you want to plant something, we have to go to that particular place, or any agriculture colleges, we have to buy it and come. Nowadays, if you go for agriculture website, they will come and plant it in your home. The technology made and bridged the gap between us. See, this is not only the advantages of using computer science and various innovations. It is bridging a gap. Everything is needed for computer science, and computer science is needed for everything. All comes under a big logic. Max is a queen of science. In science, all are indulged together to bridge the gap between the innovations. You students, nowadays you become the lecturers for us. See, we people are 10 years, 15 years old. We are referring some books and teaching you. But now you are very advanced. Whenever I go to class and teach something, my student used to say, ma'am, you have referred this from Gemini AI, and you have referred this from ChatGPT, and you have referred this from Geeks of Geeks. Because they are advanced to ask questions to us. This gap is also a big success for innovation that establishes and minimizes the gap between the thinkers and the creators. We can able to express our views, we can able to ask questions, we can able to present our communication before the forum. That is the biggest gap frontier that has been built with the multidisciplinary environment. Not only agriculture, not only industry, not only education, not only because of medicine, even in everywhere we can predict the future, that what is going to come in future. Rather than me, you people know which is the best AI which we are using apart from ChatGPT. Can anyone answer? I cannot get you. Little bit louder, please. DeepSeek, no. No. Meta AI, DPA, DeepSeek, Napkin AI, Perplexity AI. There are lots of AI tools. Any other thing? Yeah? No? It starts from the letter P. No, it's not Perplexity. Prompt in AI, have you come across? What is the advantage of using that? It is not only giving a proper prompt, whichever the content which is neglected by the society will not be ported in that AI. Whenever you go for ChatGPT, if you type something how to create a nuclear bomb, it will have some societal and legal issues not to give. But if a 4th standard kid is coming and putting that how to see movies, how to see cricket score, which is apart from his age, it does not know who's seeing, but it will give the content. But the prompt in AI will use in such a way that it will analyze who's seeing it, right? So when I ask a question, there is not only one answer or two answers. Many people are answering, so that many people are using the technology. It does not mean that only computer science students has to use, only the people of students has to use, only the lecturers has to use. Everywhere people are using AI. Even yesterday I got a message from my father that he's saying that I have sent you a reel, have you seen it? He's just 4th standard. This is not only that advancement of technology, it is not only we are developing, we are just minimizing the gap. So I conclude in such a way that our emerging trends are going and it will go. And we have to ensure that it does not rule us. We have to rule that. So thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am, for emphasizing on how computer science and AI is helping to bridge the gap in innovation and research. Thank you very much. Again, we go on to Mr. Vinod, Chief of Bureau, the Hindu Tamil. Over to you, sir.
Hi, hello, good afternoon to all. I don't know how to connect my subject to this topic. Somehow I have to manage because thing is, today's journalism is not lies on the yesterday's stories. Today's present, every second is storytelling. So, especially after this AI generation or all the social media tools or new way of storytelling, multimedia innovations, this kind of, after arrival of these scientific or innovative things came into the journalism field, how it works, I am just thinking. But before that, I want to think what is journalism, what is media, especially how it helps to build a sustainable future. I'm just thinking. So I came, some of the points came some with the points. The innovative narration. The innovative narration is, actually innovative narration means those days Doordarshan, All India Radio or Hindu newspaper or Times of India, some correspondence will be there. He go to spot and we say what is happening there, then he'll report from the spot. The next day people will read. But today's generation, they want immediate. At the second they want a live relay, So the social media and other YouTube kind of thing, Facebook or WhatsApp or Twitter or X page now, This kind of things, they are promoting the what kind of things, live relays. The live relays always going behind the three major things in India. One is politics, other thing is cinema, other is cricket. Everybody speaks about cinema stars or politicians or cricket players. But actually India depends on the three area. Not true actually. India's mostly depends on the 70% of the unorganized or urban or village, rural people. So, once this kind of young energy, young people, young students are citizen journalism. If citizen journalist creates those who have this phone or WhatsApp or social media, he can become a journalist now. He can put up points. What is happening in somewhere in the rural Bidar? What is happening in Bidar? What is happening in Gulbarga? What is going on in South Tamil Nadu? So, if anything happening near the Kanyakumari or Nanganeri, the Nanganeri people can report what is happening, what is the fact. But the media houses are deciding from the Chennai or Bangalore, stating that what is happening in Gulbarga or Bidar or Raichur. Most of the media houses don't have correspondents in the villages. They don't have correspondents in the remote areas. Simply they're relying on the PTI agencies, PTI or ANI, that kind of news agencies. So, the citizen journalism can make innovative way of reporting to develop a sustainable future. The other thing, the data journalism. Today's world depends on data. Everywhere data. If you're going to shopping market or cinema theater or any for schools, college or institution admissions, all depends on data. What is the data? Last year data, previous year data, last 10 years data. So data analyzing is a big area. It helps all the multidisciplinary areas. So in journalism also, media also, nowadays all the newspapers carrying half-page infographics. The op-ed page, if you've seen Deccan or Hindu or Express, every alternative days they're carrying half-page infographics. The population-wise or rural things, or day before yesterday some snake bite issues and all. These kind of stories are directly telling the truth. It's always depends on the truth. It's always depends on facts. It depends on the original records, not WhatsApp stories or Facebook stories or the WhatsApp university creating stories. It's not relied on the things. The data always speaks the truth. So data journalism will help the medias to create or more awareness and running it reduces the time of sensationalism. The data journalism always speaks truth, fact, and avoiding sensational issues. The sensational issues not be connected to the people or not help the people to get their knowledge or to get their daily routine life. So the data journalism, it always structured and analyzes. It gives more authentic or factual or perfect data, perfect things. So the students and the academicians can help the media to derive points with the data, to contributing the media houses, how to write a report, how to write research articles through the support of these data. So it will help the data journalism. Then other thing is, especially this digital age, everywhere misinformations or wrong informations, rumors, somebody alive, but the next day paper will come, next day WhatsApp, I got message from somebody died, somebody passed away in the aircraft crash, that kind of stories, or politically or socially motivated riots. Few years back, I think 3-4 years back, near to our place, one place called KJLE, some riot has happened. It's only because of WhatsApp message. Almost thousands of houses was burned, thousands of vehicles are burned, 3 police stations were burned, MLA house also burned. It's because of only the WhatsApp message. So, think before you share what you share. The students always be very, very responsibly to share what is happening. Somewhere, some friends, some group, I got it, that message, so I shared. You can't tell all these things. You should always responsible. You should think what is your responsible to this citizen journalism. Sir, I'm a year person or I'm a student. I'm just sharing. Nowadays you can't say all these things. If you're sharing anything, it's coming under law. Sharing miscommunication or misbehaving or manipulating the messages. So this kind of things, citizen journalism can avoid, or meaningful journalists or meaningful students, meaningful society can build a sustainable future. Then other thing is sustainability and the innovative kind of news. See, most of us not reading newspapers. If I ask any question from the Deccan or Hindu, most of them not read the newspaper, today's newspaper. Because if anybody reading newspaper, then only he can know something. But nowadays generation is, it's all depends on the phone. I have phone, I don't use newspaper. Not even he is reading e-papers. They are only seeing reels, 30-second reels. If you show 2 minutes reels, they'll scroll. So, if you want anything, any big issue, what is happening in Iran and Israel, you have to tell the whole story, or 3 century story, you have to tell in 30 seconds. If anybody takes more time, no, they'll scroll. So, we are living in that reels generation. Especially we have to create more audio, video, and film kind of storytelling. If any financial advice also, we have to give that movie. Lucky Bhaskar shows this kind of share market issues. This what Scam 19 shows this kind of stories. Then only they'll connect to the point. If anybody come and says SIP is very good, they'll don't follow. Some share market is good, they don't follow. You have to tell what Ambani did, what Adani did. That kind of stories only create the readers or viewers connecting into the area. So this kind of innovative kind of media can engage the new audience, educate the new audience, that will help the society and as well as the sustainable future. This kind of points I can tell more things to, it should came, or it should emerge more things in the future. It will help us, the society. We can build a new, prosperous, and very healthy society we can build. I hope everyone got my point. I thank this college and all the faculties. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir. Every piece of knowledge, every piece of news has to be relevant, as well as it has to be reliable. Only then it will create knowledge and sustainability. Thank you, sir, for speaking for us. And every speaker who has spoken here presented their ideas, insights, spoken about how multidisciplinary approach is essential for knowledge creation and sustainability. Every knowledge is important, multidisciplinary as well as single disciplinaries. So putting together, we can create a new world where we can have, people can really enjoy peace and happiness. So now it is time for, now the floor is open for the audience to ask questions. But I would like to begin with a question to Mr. MC Shekhar. So you had been speaking about how multidisciplinary approach is the way forward for sustainability. Could you also tell us something more about what are the key challenges that we face in fulfilling or pursuing this path of multidisciplinary approach?
She has put me on the spot, okay? Now, change is of paramount importance. I'll give you a simple example. If you are used to coming to the college from your home in a particular way, and if that day is very good, the next day you will follow the same route. The third day you will follow the same route. For the next month you will follow the same route. Trust me, on one day if you want to change your route, there will be a dread in your mind, wondering what's going to happen. Is something bad going to happen? Does everybody think like this? We are all humans, right? That's the way we think, right? Somebody is shaking their head. Yes. Now, madam asked me, what are the challenges you will face? First and foremost is the change that has to happen in you. Madam talked about acceptability. That is of paramount importance. You should not be forced into it. There has to be a voluntary acceptance. And this is the biggest challenge you will face. I'm not exaggerating. I used to be a consultant for only change management. When an ERP system is introduced in an organization, you have to change the way you're working. You must see the resistance that will come from people. They will not want to change at all. I talked to you about older people, right? The older you get, the more difficult it is for us to change because we are set in our habits. That change has to happen. Madam, that is the biggest challenge you will face. If you crack that, everything else will fall into place, especially an acceptance, a voluntary acceptance, and saying, I am prepared to do this for the betterment of society. I'm prepared to do this for the betterment of my organization. I am prepared to do this for my own growth. If you accept it, the change will flow without any issue. And this is the root cause. If you address, your problem is solved.
Thank you, sir. That was excellent. The audience, you may ask questions. You may put up your hand. You raise your hand so we can hand over the mic to you. Meanwhile, I would like to ask another question to Dr. Premalata. Ma'am, how can human resource management drive sustainable organizational practices while keeping in mind employee well-being and productivity?
Okay. So how many of y'all, maybe the students or anyone, think that if you have to join a firm and you're there sitting for an interview, the company gives you a promise of your job security for the next 5 years in the company? Would you prefer? If a company is giving you an offer and it's telling for the next 5 years you are there for sure in the company, and I'm not going to remove you at all, whatever and however you are, will you take up that opportunity? I don't think so anybody would take it, right? Because you know for sure you need to grow. And such kind of promises, you never know how long it is going to be guaranteed. And we always have one question everybody would have had. What if I get a better opportunity? And if I promise here, what am I going to do? So when it comes to HR factor, the very important thing most of the time companies do miss out is what, when I talk to few of my students who have already joined some firms or the HR people when they come into, there is something very important people have to look into when it comes to their employees is the emotional factor of employees. That's very, very important. And when it is being projected, 100% for sure I will tell, everybody will have a different state of mind when we are talking to the employees. Their emotions are very, very important. We have been seeing in the news and other things for the past 1 or 2 years about layoffs. So the job security is the biggest question for anybody, especially for all the youngsters now. And when we talk about the generation now, to some extent, studies say they are ready for change. And they don't want to stick to a company for a longer duration of time. That one example is what we saw now. They don't want to stick to a firm. The best of the firm is giving an offer also, we don't want to take. So when it is dealing with the HR, very important that you touch the emotion of an employee. And if you're standing up as a company, coming up with any plans on sustainability or anything, you have to touch the employees with emotions. That's very, very important, because any firm, which as I said, no plans should be put up in the boardroom. Plans and strategies should start from the end. I was just talking to the same person, HR manager. So I just asked him one question. Whenever students are coming for an interview or anything, do you talk about sustainability to them? Have you even had a single question? If this employee is going to be employed in the firm, what is your contribution to the environmental protection or to the sustainability? He was just thinking some time, because there are many things which is being questioned if you have to get a job in a company when it comes to your contribution, because that is a place where I can contribute through my company. Because individually, if you have to go and contribute to the society, it is really very difficult for us to reach. Suppose I'm in a firm and I'm coming up with a very good idea on sustainability. As sir said, media will take me where I have to go. I need not go and approach anybody for this. So from the environment protection or whatever it is, starting from the other challenges which anybody is facing, HR plays a very important role. And as I said, from all the other resources, HR is the most difficult and different resource, because they deal with emotions, very, very difficult to handle them. And the moment we give them the job security, most of us, we know, we are in a firm, we know AI is taking up, we know if you don't upgrade yourself, you can't retain in this job. There are so many things, so much of challenges we are facing here. But somewhere when the company is trying to implement such strategies, the company has to take care of the employees and give them that assurance. But assurance with some conditions are also there, I know. Like, we do have certain protocols to say, yes, if you achieve all these, only your retention is still there in the firm. And retaining Gen Z is really a very challenging for the company, because they have different ideas. And now, as I said, when you start from the bottom line, you start with innovations. When we talk to the people, when we talk to these youngsters, they have so much of ideas which can really come up with. And if you really have some ideas, please put it across through your companies, so you reach out where you have to reach out. That's very, very important. And for the firm, it's very important to take care of HR. Though we are adapting ourselves to technology, we should not give up on our employees. That's a ultimate what a company has to look into, is what I feel.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question to Gokila, ma'am. We are living in a very challenging times, where the world is threatened by war and violence. Ma'am, in this scenario, how can artificial intelligence as well as data analytics can contribute towards a sustainable future?
It's a very good question that is relevant to the current scenario of the world now. Actually, we face a lot because of the war that is happening in the other part of the world. And we can able to know what is happening daily. And in this part, see, AI does not help you when the situation is normal. So I have explained in the panel discussion that how AI is helping in a multidisciplinary environment where the things goes on well. But now the question is asked in such a way that, is it useful when the situation is unusual? Right? Certainly, AI also help for the sustainability of the environment when the system is not normal. A very good example is one more unsustainable condition that happened in COVID, where people cannot come out at all to survive for the daily circumstances. In that, AI is a big helpable tool to survive. First of all, when COVID happened in the beginning, we used to give blood tests. And we have to go to the nearest hospital, and everything happened. And apart to reduce that mobility also, a tool, a small kit has come across that it will just a drop of saliva or a nasal pharyngeal swab. Even though a small project was being sanctioned by the government during the time of COVID, the project name is nasopharyngeal swab sampling robot that help you to identify COVID. So likewise, even in war situations, even when the situations are unable to work out with the regular environment, AI and analytics helps you to predict the future. When this circumstance is going to be normal, what are all the future measurements we have to take after this abnormal conditions. So in this way, it helps you to analyze the prediction of future. That can be done with sentinel analysis or segmentation analysis, either thing. That makes you to create an awareness and precaution yourself to survive.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question to Mr. Vinod. Sir, in your presentation, you were mentioning about how every single person becomes a journalist, and there is a lot of miscommunication that is being passed on. So we are in a place, we are in a time where we do not know what is the right news and which is miscommunicated. So what do you think, as a person who is working in a very reputed newspaper house, what do you think, what is the policies or what are the steps that can be taken by the government or newspaper agencies to protect this right information?
Especially this era, sister, it's a big challenge to address get a good news or correct exact news. So have to check nowadays the fact checking tools are there. You have to check what is happening through the right person. The AI pick or other kind of picks, it looks like the same thing, same bill, same government GO, but you have to check the concerned department what is happening there. The checking thing is the only way to avoid this kind of misinformations or other rumors kind of issues. The other thing, nowadays the media industry is facing lack of employees, lack of human power. So most of them doing desk job. They're not going to the field. So anybody comes from the field, he may report the correct actual news. If anybody working in the desk or doing the following social media or some other sources, we have to call the source. So the source may tell misinformations to convey the misinformation to the media houses. So the reporter's duty is check the correct points or correct the things, the correct source, then the authorized persons, get the authorized person's quote to add the story more power, more strength. So especially in this era, we have to follow the factual checking is very, very important. Before confirming any news, have to check 2 to 3 times with various sources. It will help us to get the good news or correct news. Yes, sister.
Yes, sir, it's very challenging. Now, the audience may ask questions. You may put up your hands.
Good afternoon, dignitaries. I'm Aishwarya, research scholar from Government IQAC College. My question to you is, why is the sustainability does require time as well as cost for its implementation? Why is it? It's a good thing. Adapting sustainability is really a good thing, but why is it taking much time for its implementation? Because I'm basically doing my PhD on sustainability. That's why I want to put forth this question.
Can I answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question here. Suppose there are 2 companies which have put up a stall here with some, clothes. One counter says all are sustainable products, properly manufactured under that process, but the rates are really expensive. But you have another counter which gives you cheaper clothes as well, but where they are not following sustainable concept. It's just for a day and you feel very attracted with the second counter to buy. How many of you all would go to counter 1 to buy? How many of you all would try to buy some products from counter 2? Nobody would buy. At least from counter 2 there are few. There's one more category. Let me use my own clothes for some more time, right? That's it is. So when it comes to this time and cost, this is the biggest challenge companies do. Companies do spend a lot of time. When we take up Tesla as an example, huge investment was done. A lot of R&D was done, but success is still there. Success rates are there. How many of us now recently we can see people are switching to electric bikes? We see that. Okay, but the change takes time. As I said, it takes a lot of time. When you take certain statistics, the textile waste is the biggest number in our country. And recently I was also looking into when technology is being implemented, lot of cost and definitely time, because as I said, people have to take, your customers are where your survival exists on. So for you to survive, you have to have customers who are going to buy your products. By the time you take more time, you can't take too much time also. By the time you're taking a lot of time, there's another firm come up with a better ideas than you. Customers will just switch. So how are you going to hold on your customers? And definitely a lot of money has to be implemented in this because these technologies are really very expensive. So I was just reading an article some days back which was talking about Google, data centers. So there are Google data centers for them, for the data centers to be without any problem, or if it has to work well, there's a required temperature it has to work with. So there's a lot of electricity consumption only to maintain these data centers. Innovation was done. Google went on an innovation, they spent a lot of money and they started using it. But when they started using it, it was observed that it is taking a lot of electricity. I know when I talk about electricity, where is our sustainability factor? Yes. So they came up with another technology where automatic cooling will happen through these systems, where automatically they can cool the systems by itself, at least to one extent. It has actually saved 40% of their energy consumption. Okay, this is what is the reports which is being saying. And we have Unilever company which is investing a lot of money in their R&D because companies have to keep working because your survival is very important in the market. If you don't do anything, we are nowhere. People don't recognize us when you don't do anything. You have to keep showing the world that you are still in existence, and you have to go along with the way. You can't still stick on to older versions and say, no, I'm just doing the best here. No, because we have to keep moving on. That is very important. So time and cost is something very, very important. And there was one more thing I just wanted to talk regarding HR. It just struck to my mind. When how companies are, encouraging employees. So there's a company, Patagonia, I guess, if I'm wrong, I'm so sorry for that, which says if you're taking an off, you are allowed for a weekly off or a monthly off. Beyond that, if there is any activity you're indulging in social welfare or something like that, they give you special leaves for that itself. So that's also one of the initiatives this company has taken up where it is promoting. Again, here there is cost factor involved. One employee not coming from my office for a day or two is going to affect my cost factor, but still I am supporting myself to the sustainability factor. So definitely cost and time is required because there's a lot of challenges, the company has to face, starting from the policies, the regulations, political factors, too many things. Ultimately, when I try to reach out my products to my consumers, the consumers should also be ready to take it. I think I answered your question. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the information, ma'am. And one more question I wanted to post. Ma'am, recently I have seen an article in which it is said that we are all using ChatGPT as an AI tool for whatever we want. Everything we always, like anything if you want, no longer it's a Google search, it's ChatGPT, and thereby we ask any question. There is a concern again, that every 50 to 60 prompt what we do in the ChatGPT, we are using 500 ml of water as a coolant. This is a recent article which is highly challenging. Yes, we are talking about sustainability, but the water wastage is happening by using the technology. So what's your opinion to this, ma'am?
See, I just have something to tell. When we open ChatGPT, what happens? You first will have one query. We put up a query, ChatGPT gives you an answer, of course. But some of us have an habit, the moment it is giving us the data, we'll have 100 doubts in that data what is given itself. So we try to pose more questions. So that we have to be a little sensible. It's giving us information and all the information is already stored. It is stored information what is given. Go for a first trial, yes, agreed. we have to have that patience to sit and read the entire content out of it and make an analysis by ourselves. So we are saving somewhere there and utilizing our own knowledge as well. But the second and third time when we keep on asking more and more queries to the ChatGPT, that's where, as Sir was telling, we start with one reel and we end up going again and again. You start a ChatGPT with one question, you would have had many chats in that. So maybe somewhere we have to be a little sensible there to reduce that time what we spend. Rather than reading the same content 2 to 3 times, definitely we would understand what it is.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for this.
We are just on time. Maybe one more question, just one person there.
Good afternoon, panelists. My name is Sai, and I'm doing my master's from Christ University. So my question is pretty similar to hers. So as she said, that generative AI takes a lot of uses a lot of water and electricity. So can multidisciplinary research truly balance economic growth and environmental conservation, or there has to be a compromise between one of them? So the question is open to anyone.
Can you please repeat the question?
So, can multidisciplinary research truly balance economic growth with environmental conservation, or there has to be a compromise between one of them?
So your question is whether multidisciplinary research is balancing the economic growth. Am I correct?
No, ma'am. Is multidisciplinary research, can it balance both environmental conservation as well as economic growth, or one of those things have to be compromised to achieve the other?
Oh, it has to balance the environmental sustainability and economic growth.
Yes, ma'am.
Yet it has to balance, because see, if ChatGPT is offering free only, you are prompting on ChatGPT. If they are costing that, if you get one information, you have to pay $1, will you go for ChatGPT? There are a lot of free tools available. There are a lot of costly tools available. It does not mean that ChatGPT is the only chatbot for prompting AI. As ma'am said that there are a lot of tools, but all the tools are not free. To balance the economic growth, ChatGPT plays in such a way that it offers less charges or no charges for giving answers. But that is not only the correct answer. When you go for any other AI, with the amount, it will give you more information. But it does not to be needed by the people who use it. See, for example, you are given an assignment to complete within a stipulated time. Will you pay for the assignment to go for the tool which is giving you cost? Certainly, you'll go for the tool which is giving you for free. You note it, take down the assignment and submit. So again, it is in the hands of the people who use that prompt that make them balance both environmental sustainability and the economic growth. Is that clear?
I think with that, we'll close the questions. Okay, the last one.
Hi everyone, I'm also from Christ University. My name is Shivali. So it's a generalized question. So what came into my mind was, Sir was talking about how it's very hard that when you become older, it's very hard to change. So it's easier to bend a sapling than a tree. And as ma'am was talking about how many AI tools are there, and a few of them we were also not aware of, being the Gen Z generation and the ones that are using AI most prominently. Also, ma'am spoke about how the interns are not very ready. And when we talk about educational institutions, they say that you're not supposed to use AI and you're supposed to use your brains to do whatever it is that is assigned, which is very right. And also, the offices ask you to make friends with AI so that you can use it more effectively, and it is time consuming without AI. So I feel like there should be a balance between these things, and there are pros and cons to everything. So how exactly do we use AI without actually being completely numb, without using our brains, but to help us? This was one question. And the other question was with respect to what Sir said, with the change of age. So is it, because AI is something emerging now, and I think that it will be prominent for the coming decades, is it something that would help if it is in our educational institutions from school time with respect to awareness. Because for us to accept something like AI, because the fear of unknown is very prominent in our country, and we are a country of culture where we've come from folk tales and mythology, and we've believed what we hear more than what we've seen as well. So for us to accept something, maybe we should be aware of it first. So is it something that you think will be good to be implemented in schools first, so that we make our peace with it? And also if there are some things like age recognition or etc. for us to open AI. That's it.
That was a very long question, but I'll try to answer it, okay? See, when calculators came out, the parents said you should not use a calculator because you will lose your ability to do mental mathematics. In examination halls, you're not supposed to take calculators. These were the rules that were there. Why? It goes back to the same, I always go to the root cause, which is my favorite word, is I'm afraid of change. Will the calculators last? Whereas we believe that if we are able to do it with our brain, it will continue. Whereas calculator, you may not have access to all the time. This is the thought process. Just follow what I'm trying to say. Today, you can take a calculator, there is no problem at all. Anybody can take a calculator in an exam, nobody minds it. Why? Because it is part of normal existence. AI is new. It is difficult for me to understand whether your answer that follows AI, have you used your intelligence to understand what AI is saying, or have you just vomited whatever AI is saying? That is what I'm more concerned about. I don't have a problem with your using an AI, but do you understand what AI is trying to say? What happens is, if you use AI for everything, you don't understand anything at the end of the day. Your natural intelligence is gone. You don't even, because you're not even studying what AI is trying to say. So none of us here are saying don't use AI. Do use it, but do you understand what comes out of it? We always have a very useful term which is called as professional skepticism. Most professionals use it. I will be skeptical. He talked about, confirming information. It's about skeptical what I see. Is it really correct? Is it really true? Yeah? So when AI gives an information, use your natural intelligence to say, does it seem reasonable? And then you alter it to make it reasonable, number one. Number two, which in my opinion, I have used extensively AI, there is no emotional or personal touch that an AI has. You want to do a presentation, you do it in AI, and before you do it naturally by yourself using your natural intelligence. You compare both of them. One is dry, it doesn't have any emotion. Whereas this one, which you have done, you will be able to connect it to the person you are speaking with. So these are all the things. Over time, I am sure AI will also develop. Over time, I'm sure all of us sitting here would say, please use AI to enhance your intelligence. So at this stage, it is that barrier that we have to cross. But our fear is very simple. Are you using your natural intelligence? Are you understanding what AI is saying? Have I answered both your questions? This is all. We are not against AI. All of us use AI. I do, I'm sure you do, I'm sure all of us use AI. But we want you to use your intelligence as well. Yeah?
Thank you, sir. I suppose with that we have come to the end of our panel discussion. I wholeheartedly thank all the panelists for your meaningful discussions, sharing with us your valuable insights. Thank you very much. And dear audience, thank you very much for your meaningful engagement and patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Deepa, for moderating this session. And thank you, dear panelists, for making this session a very enlightening and very engaging. Thank you, participants, for also engaging. We will now break for lunch. A few announcements before we move in. For all the delegates, the lunch will be served just outside the room adjacent to the auditorium. please collect your lunch and you all can have your lunch in that room itself. Please refrain from bringing your lunch into the auditorium. Student volunteers of St. Aloysius Degree College are requested to carry your lunch and go to room number 41 and have your lunch there. Clear? We will now have a quick group photo before we break for lunch. So please assemble for a group photo. Also note, we will return back to the auditorium by 1:45 p.m. A few announcements for all the dignitaries, not the dignitaries, the delegates, especially those who are participating in the track sessions. Track 1 for commerce will be in the auditorium. Track 2, business administration, will be in computer lab, ground floor. Social work, track 3, and psychology will be on the second floor, psychology lab. Computer science will be in first floor, computer lab, that is track 4. And track 5, language, will be in the ground floor AV room or language lab. It has been put up on the screen, so you all can have a quick look at it. Thank you. Please have a sumptuous lunch.
Imagine being able to build an app